My apologies on this being late. My AC unit in my apartment went out, and my studio of recording these videos is actually up in the studio of my apartment. And if you know anything about heat, it definitely rises. It made working on all of this unbearable, and I tried to record a video, but I couldn't sit here for longer than 5 minutes. It was hard to breathe. It was just super sweaty. Let's just leave it at that. It's just difficult. So I apologize on getting this out late. I'm sure most of you guys have already seen course breakdowns and tournament breakdowns of other different podcasts, but I still wanted to get this out for one main reason, and one reason alone. Has to do with the giveaway that I'm running this week. It is a win the pot giveaway. It starts at $20, and for every one new subscriber, I'm adding $2 to the pot. So I have stamped the starting goal, which is 831. So this channel started this giveaway at 831 subscribers. So wherever we are by Tuesday, which you can see on the screen, I'm doing a live stream Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. By that time, how many ever subscribers we get is how much extra money is going to be added to the pot. Again, one new subscriber equals $2. So wherever we end up is what will be added to the pot. And for the Masters tournament, that was $50. We got to $50. I don't think that's going to happen this week, and that has a lot to do with the fact I couldn't get videos out sooner. So trying to get more exposure to the channel just didn't lend itself to me because of my my AC unit, just my issues with my apartment and my recording space. So my apologies. But if you do want entries into this giveaway, comment on any of my videos. If for each video you comment on, you get one free entry. And then if you share this on any of your social media platforms, you'll get an additional entry that way. I am on X, formerly known as Twitter, and I'm also on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook too. So if you share this podcast on any, well, actually, if you share this podcast on any other platform than what I just mentioned, let me know. It is on you to let me know so I can go check it out. Because otherwise, I'm not going to get a notification. I won't know that you shared it. And by simply saying I shared it doesn't actually give me the proof that I need. I need to actually go visit the site and check it out, see what it is, and that's how I'll validate your extra entries. So just let me know. You can email me at SweetSpotDFS@gmail.com. You can DM me on X or Instagram or whatever and say, hey, I shared your stuff. Like, let me see that that additional entry or that extra entry, and you'll get it. Easy enough. So there's this giveaway, and then if you're not a subscriber to the channel, please do so. That just helps out with adding more money to the pot, but it also helps us get closer to this giveaway. Once this channel hits 1,000 subscribers, I am going to give away $1,000. 2 of them are in the form of a membership to SweetSpotDFS.com. One is a lifetime membership. So for however long this website is going to be live, which I intend on it being live for a very long time because I use it for my own research, you will be a lifetime member. And then I'm also giving away an annual membership and 2 $100 cash giveaways. So if you're not a person that likes to use websites for your research, you still can get $100 cash money. So one way or 2 ways you can help with this, or one way you can help with this, subscribe to this channel. If you want an entry into the giveaway, you have to have an account on SweetSpotDFS.com. And I don't charge you anything. You can have a free account. You don't have to put in your credit card information, nothing. Just create an account. That's it. Because I will get an email distribution list, and from that distribution list, I will pick a winner at random. And I'll do it on stream so you guys can see how it is randomized, or, you'll see the random part of that. So again, if you want to participate in this giveaway, go create an account at SweetSpotDFS.com. And if you're not a subscriber, subscribe. Just gets us closer to reaching 1,000 subscribers, where then I will do this giveaway. Okay. That's it. I won't go any further into it. Let's get back into the course and tournament information. And I'm going to have to hit you with that transition once again. All right, so we are at the Quail Hollow Club for the PGA Championship this year. This golf course usually hosts the Wells Fargo Championship, which is now going to be known as the Truist Championship going forward, I think. This golf course is normally used on the PGA Tour during this time of the year. So any type of course history that you want to use outside of the 2017 PGA Championship, where Quail Hollow also hosted this PGA Championship, this tournament, you could use all that course history. Now, I said exclude the 2017 PGA Championship because that was in August. That tournament was held in August, and in August, there was no overseed. It was all Bermuda. So that is very important. That's a very important distinction. As you can see on the screen, this is SweetSpotDFS.com. You can see all the course statistics here. The yardage, the par, you can see that it is overseeded. This little Y indicates that it's overseed. So you look at the grass here. We have ryegrass on the tees, fairways, and rough, and Poa trivialis on the greens. You can see what the base layers are up here. The base grass, it's just Bermuda, but you can see the specific strands of Bermuda on each of the surfaces, the turf surfaces. I don't think it's really that important, but I will say this. This is actually a good segue to talk about the tournament fact sheets that the gcsaa.org provides. If you want to get to that site, scroll down on any page at SweetSpotDFS.com. You can see the quick links right above my head. Tournament fact sheets, just drill down on that. You will go to a page that looks like this. It'll actually have this collapsed. But if you open up the PGA Tour, you can see the PGA Championship is the first link that you can click on. And when you click on that, it'll bring you to a page that looks like this. So all of the information you see at SweetSpotDFS.com, I validate against these tournament fact sheets. And the PGA Tour, as well as these golf courses, they all are subscribed to the gcsaa.org, or, well, the GCSAA, which stands for the Golf Course Superintendent Association of America. So it's a big organization. All the superintendents kind of, that's their little club. And they try to make their golf courses set up absolutely perfectly for all these PGA Tour events. They swap information. It's a very good organization for turf management, basically. I bring up this overseed because there's a note in these tournament fact sheets that's very important. It says, heading into the tournament, the greens, approaches, tees, fairways are around a 50-50 mix of overseed with the underlying Bermuda grass. But they can still be considered overseed surfaces. My rule of thumb is if it ever says overseed, that is the prevalent grass strain. Just a very quick crash course. I went to college for golf course management. I had to take a few courses in agronomy. Overseed is used, well, I shouldn't even say that. I shouldn't even start there. Grass goes dormant if growing temperatures or just growing conditions aren't optimal. And in order for Bermuda growing conditions to be optimal, you need to have an average temperature throughout the entire day. It's like 78, 80 degrees throughout the entire day. So we take, the lows for a night temperature and we take the highs, you average it out all the way throughout the day. And it's got to actually be north of that threshold, that baseline, that average. And if it is, it's like 80 degrees. That's kind of the rule of thumb for Bermuda. You want it to be about 80 degrees, and that's where Bermuda thrives. That's where it grows. If it's not at that temperature for a good chunk of consistent days in a row, it's just not going to grow as thick, as luscious. It'll be a very thin, brittle grass, the kind of grass you see at the American Express every single year that's played in February. You see that dormant grass is yellow. It's very brittle. It's very easy to hit off of. But when Bermuda actually grows in, it gets thicker and it gets gnarlier. Bermuda's known for its the way it connects with its roots into, you know, each other stem of grass. It's a very interconnected way of it's a very interconnected type of grass. Whereas like ryegrass is almost strictly just root and then leaf. It's just, you know, it just stands straight up. Where like Bermuda is kind of like this nasty, gnarly type of grass that, you know, interweaves into each other. And that's where you can get some crazy lies with Bermuda grass. The fact it's 50-50 tells me we don't have to worry about that type of lie. Like I am 100% sure you do not have to worry about Bermuda grass. If you want to go ahead and use it for a stat, go for it. I'm going to be very transparent. If you go to the cheat sheet, which you can access through SweetSpotDFS.com. So if I scroll up, go to Fantasy Tools, drill down on cheat sheet, it'll open up a new page. I'll wait for it to load just to show you how you can access this page. This is kind of the new cheat sheet that I'm still working on that will replace the old cheat sheet. But the current cheat sheet I want you guys to use, just scroll down on the page, go here, click here, and it'll open up a Google page. And the first thing I want you to notice, I like, you know, going over these course breakdowns to give you payoffs. Here's a payoff. I'm using Bermuda grass. I'm using stats that go back to 2013. So the events that you see here, that means the total amount of events dating back to 2013 for each of these golfers. And then what is their average finishing position, their top 10 success rate. So how often do they finish inside the top 10? And then over 365 days, what is their average finishing position on Bermuda grass? The reason I'm using Bermuda has nothing to really do with the grass. It has more to do with the region, the territory of where these golf courses are played. Because if there's Bermuda grass, that is almost exclusively in southeastern United States. You will see it more from like Texas on up to like Virginia. Maybe not even Virginia. North Carolina, where this golf course or where this tournament is being played, might be the furthest north they use Bermuda. And then you'll get some Bermuda that's over in, you know, Arizona, but they only play one tournament in Arizona, and that's the WM Phoenix Open. That's played on Overseed. You saw the LA Country Club where Wyndham Clark won the US Open. That was actually Bermuda, but that was in the summertime in California. And a lot of California courses are POA, but some are Bermuda, just depending on where they are. But most of your Bermuda courses are in the southeast region of the United States. So I'm mostly using Bermuda grass just for that. And I really want to pull the best golfers kind of further away from the middle of the pack. And this is a good way to do it, is actually to include a second grass, which for me is going to be Bermuda. I think once I get all the filters set up on the website, I'm not positive how much Bermuda I would actually use for my research. I would use some, don't get me wrong, but then I'd be able to use regions, which I don't actually have the access to do on my spreadsheets just yet. Actually, I shouldn't even say just yet. I don't plan on it. I plan on fully transitioning to the website, which we will be able to use region for that type of analysis. But the main grass I'm using, believe it or not, is bent grass. This is going to come to a shock for most of you. Like, I guarantee you most of you guys have gone to other course breakdowns where they're talking about, oh, this is a POA Trivialis Overseed. Let's look at other tournaments where there's POA Trivialis, which is absolutely fine, but they're mostly talking about POA. And they're also not talking about Bermuda. They're basically saying stay away from Bermuda. I gave you my reason why I'm using Bermuda. It has nothing to do with the grass, has to do with the region. I'm using bent grass because the POA that's going to be used as the Overseed is not the same POA you get in California. Sure, some of the, you know, the flower of the grass will bud, and that's where you get the bumpiness of POA, but you're not going to get that much here. You know, if you look at any of the Wells Fargo championships in the past, POA doesn't really shine through. And I validated this before jumping on and creating this video. If I go back to 2024 we're going to find that I also use bent grass for the Wells Fargo Championship, and I use Bermuda. You can see some of the best golfers on Bermuda and bent grass finished inside the top 10 of this tournament. Now, you got to remember it was a signature event last year at the Wells Fargo Championship, which again, Quail Hollow hosts, and that's the golf course we're at this week at the PGA Championship. But it's still worth noting, like, if you see the bent grass actually plays a huge factor in this, so does Bermuda. And if I were to put filters on this and just filter out by the best Bermuda golfer or bent grass golfers, when you look at the results in, the top 9 golfers, we see 5 of them inside the top 20. We see 3 of them inside the top 3, or top 4, I should say. 2 of them are optimal lineup golfers in Jason Day and Rory McIlroy. If I do the same thing for Bermuda, you can see pretty much the same thing. It's not the top 9 golfers, but the top 11 golfers, I still have 3 guys inside the top 4, 2 of them being optimal lineup golfers of your top Bermuda, we'll call them specialists, your top Bermuda performers. So yes, I do think using these stats, using bent grass and Bermuda grass is important this week, and therefore I'm going to. I advocate for it, and you're going to see that on the cheat sheet, which I'm showing right now. I think it's worthwhile to use those grasses. And again, the reason why I'm using bent is because these greens are going to perform like bent grass greens, not pure bent grass like you would get at the Masters or any of the other northern golf courses that have true bent grass. But it's going to be pretty darn close. It's going to be pretty darn close. Very, very confident in using bent grass and Bermuda. So that's kind of, I throw that out there as well for you guys to use. Going back to the golf course stats, if you didn't know this about my website, I do map out each golf course and I provide what the beneficial shot shapes are for each hole off of the tee and on approach. So this top section here, this is your front 9, and the red text down here is your off the tee and approach shot shapes. Now you can go through each of these holes and take a look at it. Maybe you disagree with me, that's fine. But like what I note here in the little notes, it says that off the tee and approach shown below indicate the preferred shot shape for off the tee and on approach. These are not necessary. They're just the best general scoring they just offer, I should say, the best general scoring opportunities for each hole. And I stand by that. Some of these greens have, protected areas where the pins are located. Sometimes they're tucked behind a bunker. And the only way to access that is to hit a certain shot shape into it. Now, you don't have to do that. You can go the Scotty Scheffler route and just hit the middle of the green, or hit it pin high on the safe side of the green. You certainly can do that in 2-putt and just move on. But like I mentioned, it gives you the best scoring opportunity, and we are playing DraftKings, which means we want to find golfers who get birdies. I'd rather have a birdie, bogey, birdie, bogey, birdie, bogey golfer than have 4 or 5 pars in a row. So it just offers a little bit of an advantage. And on the cheat sheet, by the way, if you scroll over to the golfer information segment, I do have shot shapes for most of these golfers, what their preferred shot shape is. And it's me just watching endless years of golf swings on each of these golfers to find out what their preferred shot shape is. And sometimes I just listen to what the golfers say. Obviously we know Justin Thomas likes to hit a fade. Rory McIlroy likes to hit a draw. Scotty Scheffler likes to hit a fade. Can they shape it the other way? Yes, they can. They're just not as good as their preferred shot shape. So that's kind of how I use shot shapes. And honestly, when it comes to like weights out of 100, just put like 1 or 2 weights on it. That's it. You don't have to put a lot at all. It's just like a tiebreaker. I like to use it as a tiebreaker, or if I want to put a core of golfers together, I might just go with what I think the preferred shot shape is. You guys can do that. More than welcome to. You don't have to if you don't want to. It's not a make or break type of thing. So yeah, again, if you want to find more information, check this out at SweetSpotDFS.com. Again, the tournament fact sheets, you can find a link for those at the bottom of the website. So you can just kind of do your own research if you want. I think that's all I have for the golf course. I think that's it for the golf course. I guess the one thing to mention, or two things to mention, now that I remember them. This, because of success of Rory McIlroy at this golf course and Wyndham Clark and, you know, a few other guys, there is a bomber narrative, and it's not that I disagree with it, but remember, there will always be golfers that don't fit a stat profile. And because I am trying to hit the optimal lineup, I'm trying to target the optimal lineup, I'm not so keen on stat stacking. I don't care. I'm not trying to find a specific type of stat to build my lineups around. In fact, I'm just going to use the bucket system, the whole sweet spot process to find my golfers. And if it includes like Colin Morikawa, who doesn't hit the ball that far compared to his colleagues, so be it. Like, if I go to the Wells Fargo Championship, there's Colin I'm sorry, let's sort this by finishing position. You can make an argument that these 5 golfers right here hit the ball pretty far. Denny McCarthy does not. Mackenzie Hughes does not. And Mackenzie Hughes was in the optimal lineup. He is chasing speed, don't get me wrong, but he doesn't, you know, compared to his colleagues, hit the ball very far. Russell Henley doesn't either. But I could say some of these other dudes that are on the top 10 leaderboard, top 13 leaderboard, it's mostly bombers. But again, if you are trying to hit the optimal lineup, if you're trying to take down a GPP, you're probably going to have to get a little bit different. It looks like the GPP last year actually just followed bombers. Sung Jae isn't really a bomber, but he still hits the ball pretty far. Those 6 golfers all hit the ball pretty far. So yeah, you could go that route for sure. The second thing that kind of goes in combination with bombers is Quail Hollow is expected to get a pretty decent rainfall leading into the tournament. What that'll end up doing is softening the golf course, which just, again, favors bombers. And if for whatever reason there's too much rain, they might play ball in hand, which means they can place the golf ball in fairways and give themselves preferred lies. And if that's the case, bombers will definitely have the upper hand. But so too will all the PGA Tour players, because they're just going to have perfect lies, perfect golf balls. But that's all kind of speculation. Keep an eye on the weather. Just make sure if it ends up being a monsoon in that area, favor bombers. Once they get through the rain and whatever, it probably is going to favor them. And then I think the other thing to note is a lot of the holes, I guess, here, I'll leave it up to you guys. Go to SweetSpotDFS.com. Just take a look at the mapping that I have. What shot shapes matter? You know, fades tend to be more preferred off of the tee, where draws kind of are more preferred on approach. So yeah, that was just the second piece. I was thinking to myself, you know, Rory has had success here, but you don't see many guys who draw the golf ball, and that's not absolutely true. Like last year, we were just looking at that at the Wells Fargo Championship. Denny hits a draw, Jason Day hits a draw, Xander hits a draw, Rory hits a draw, Max Homa, I probably starts hitting a fade, I don't know. Sepp Straka hits a draw. So like, yeah, there's a lot of draw golfers that do pretty well at this golf course. So I was going to mention you want to find faders with the golf ball, but no, not that big of a deal. Okay. Last thing to talk about, the tournament. We have 156 golfers in the field, or as I have it right now, 154. I'm not sure if 2 golfers are going to be added or if they're going to keep it at 154. It's top 70 in ties for cuts. Normally on the PGA Tour, it's top 65. And I had mentioned during the PGA or the DraftKings first look that there are 25 PGA professionals. So if I go to the PGA Championship page and I scroll down, there's some of these guys down here. The most famous one you're going to know is Michael Block. Michael Block is a PGA professional, not a PGA Tour professional. There is a distinction. PGA professionals are sanctioned by the PGA of America to work at a golf course and give lessons. They are qualified to give lessons. They are qualified to run a golf course under the same criteria that other PGA of America golf courses operate. So mostly if you go to a golf course and you see a seal, like a PGA of America seal, that means the person who is certified from the PGA of America had to go through all the training and all that stuff, and every year recertify under the PGA of America to maintain that certification. They are offered the ability to go qualify in sectionals and regionals in order to make the PGA Championship. So there are 20 of those golfers in the field. You can ignore all of them, including Michael Block. So kind of actually brings the field down to 135 golfers pretty much. And with top 70 in ties, that more than half the field is going to make the cut versus miss the cut. So it might be easier getting 6 of 6 through, which just really all that really does is favor my approach more so than any other approach. I want to target the optimal lineup, which means finding, diamonds in the rough. Starting your lineups with a 10-9-8, 7-7-6, making adjustments from there. Just trying to be different by grabbing some 6K golfers. And again, Tuesday night during the live stream is usually, I call it my strategy stream. We'll talk about strategies. We'll build lineups on that stream. I'll answer questions. I'll talk about, some strategies that I'm kind of thinking about. Again, that's all Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'll be going live. Yeah, I don't have anything else to add, I guess, when it comes to the course and tournament information. So before I get out of here, a quick reminder, just to throw this on the screen one more time. Tomorrow, win the pot. For every one new subscriber to the channel, I add $2. The pot starts at 20. During the Masters, we got it up to 50. So let's see if we can do that again. And to get an entry into the giveaway, comment down below, share this on all your social media platforms. Let me know where you share it, and I will give you credit. I'll give you an entry for each one of those that you do. And of course, last giveaway to mention, SweetSpotDFS.com giveaway. Once I reach 1,000 subscribers on the channel, I will give away $1,000. If you want an entry into this giveaway, go create an account at SweetSpotDFS.com. And that's it. That is all that I have for you guys. So thank you all for watching. Please come back, check out some of the other videos I've posted, comment on those. And again, I go live Tuesday night. All right. I will see you all later. Thank you for watching.